Greetings, boars and ghouls. I've determined we're going to build a little bit more onto this tank. I've got to figure out a way to put some sort of, maybe some view slits right up here on this turret so the driver can actually see where he's going. I went and did a little research on World War II tanks and realized I'd missed a few things, so we're going to try to remedy that. I'll probably end up having to paint these too, but we're going to start with this right here. Now, apparently I missed it. I kind of finished up the sides, but apparently I lost the footage at some point. So you can see where we finished that. I also glued this shovel up here, which was sequin black and just a bamboo skewer. So let's go ahead and put some turret. Let's go ahead and put a view slits on this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut about 2 of these in this size, these standard popsicle sticks. I need 2 of these cut. I'm cutting mine about, it's probably a little big, but we're going to cut them about 1 inch, maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and glue them in place, and I'll have to paint them anyway. So, so what we're going to do is I'll come over here, bring us so you can see what I'm doing in the light. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, we should probably paint the interior because we're going to have to paint it to where you can at least think you're inside of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in with a little black paint. Just matte black, not the shiny stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little pinpoint brush that's already a bit stiff, get a little bit of this paint on it, and we're going to come up here and I'm going to paint just a little bit. There we go. Now, you could just leave it like that and it would be probably halfway decent, but I like a little texture on this because basically what this is a sort of an interactive 3-dimensional collage. It's just basically kind of a assemblage of sorts. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and I'm going to put right there's on part of it. So we'll set it on its side so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to end up having to come in and probably with the paintbrush again. But we're going to put a because this is, I'm going to tell you right now, this is unknown. This is not any modern tank or any known type of tank. This is just basically my attempt at building something from my own imagination that kind of looks military. But I'm going to try to see if I can borrow from it as much as I can. If you really wanted to, you could probably get away with using something like that in wargaming. Now, we now have a proper viewer on this thing, but I need to paint it. So, go ahead and put this paint up, and we'll go ahead and paint that. Paint it with the China white that we used as the backdrop. We're probably going to do a couple of things today, I think. We're going to start with this. So, go ahead and get my wide brush out here. We're going to go ahead and paint this, and I don't know if I'm going to put a camo scheme on it or not, but we are going to paint it. I might end up putting a camouflage scheme on it. Alright. Turn this on its side again so I can see what I'm doing. Come in here and just kind of now just see what I'm just kind of glue these up on its edge, and as you can see, these are being glued on their edge. They're not, this edge gluing is not going to be great if you're actually trying to play with this thing. So it's not really a children's toy so much as it is just a kind of a decorative piece. But now we have our shovel, and we also have a view slit for somebody to sit in there and drive now, or at least a gunner slit. I'm still not entirely sure how the me see something. I want to see something here. Grab this piece right here because I got to see if we can make maybe a commander slot or something without this thing interfering. Okay. It's going to have to be power. I'm going to have to assume that the driver is right in there. So let's see something. Okay. Let me try it on this side. Alright. So I can... Commander's cupula is going to have to be moved up fairly... Let's see, right there it's going to hit up against the traverse on the tank. So now what we got to do is figure out how we're going to put that in there. Now, I could put it here, but you don't want it going too far back, so it's going to have to be fairly forward. So let's see what we can do. Unless the commander is telling the driver how to drive this thing, which is possible, I suppose. Turn this turret on its side. Well, let's see if this helps. Put it right in the center. It's going to be an awkward drive, I'm going to tell you. From an engineering standpoint. Well, that actually holds up. Alright, we're going to glue this in place and hopefully not interfere with my traverse. Now, let's see, that does not interfere very much. Does need to be a little more centered. The way I'm kind of envisioning is that the driver's sitting right under here. The commander's here, the gunner's down here, and maybe you got some mechanic in the back working on the engineering. So, I'm going to do a little bit more work on this. So, let's go ahead and, I got to get a little black paint because I'm going to come in here. There we go. And I'm going to cut another piece and put it in on top of it. See, right there. Now. Oh, why am I getting paint? I need glue. Okay. I don't want this thing getting up where it's going to interfere with the tanks, with the wheels on the tank, or with the gun rather. Alright, there we go. Now we have to cut and get these stringers off, because stringers are the bane of my existence. We'll cut these little tips loose and see if I can get them without splitting the wood, because that's a pain in the neck. Trying to keep them from splitting. Now, it's going to be about as good as it's going to get. Alright, now, I'm going to glue this one on top, and then we'll glue those on the sides to kind of line up the commander's cupula, or the driver's head spot. It's probably going to have some sort of electronic control on it. Otherwise, he ain't going to be able to steer this thing, right? There's not going to be any mechanical controls on it, I'm almost certain. Let me see if this interferes with the gun very much. A little bit too much. Let's cut it down some. Okay, now, make sure this measures up. Okay, you gotta get these lined up. What I'm doing is I'm using the ends of the popsicle sticks to make the side pieces for the driver's slot, driver's area. I'll make it kind of low slung here if I can. I probably cut it a little bit lower, but we'll go with that. Because I can put maybe a headlamp or something right there eventually. Like I said, this isn't going to be any known tank, so before any military historians burn me in effigy, I'm quite aware of the fact that this is not a real tank. See, now I can put maybe a headlamp or something right there between them. And you got a little place for the commander to kind of, or the driver to just kind of sit. Now, I'm going to try to take this a little more seriously. So far, we know this thing's got a crew of about 3 men. You got your commander that's up here in the cupola. You've got the gunner right there. The commander's probably acting as loader, and as big as this is, you might actually have a loader in there. You've got your driver here and probably a mechanic in the back working with the engine. So, there's where we're at thus far. And yeah, I know I'm taking this way serious. I'm wanting to, I've kind of got a plan for what I'm doing here. Just follow my lead. Oh, I got a little black paint where I don't need black paint. Now, there we go. I don't want to contaminate my paints. That's not fun for me. Now, turn the tank on its side. And go ahead and get some blue paint because we're going to top this here. And I need one more piece back here on the back. Kind of seal the deal here, I think. Maybe glue it in like that, which will give the driver a little bit more headroom, maybe. Hopefully this won't interfere with the turret. Let's see if it interferes. Nope, just barely misses the turret. Let me see if it misses it from this side. That does kind of interfere a little bit, so we'll have to edge this up just a bit. And we know it comes in good on that side, so a little bit of a grind, but not a whole lot. We can work with that. Now, turn it on its side again. Now we're going to go ahead and finish painting up the driver's area. I probably have to repaint this logo, the cross up here, because it's now covered, and that won't do. Well, we'll do something with it. Just going to go ahead and paint over that since it's already halfway covered. Go ahead and pull some of this extra glue off because we've got glue where it don't need to be. So I've got glue sticking up here that needs to be coming off. See? Now, there we go. Now, a little more paint. Come up here. There we go. Now that just looks spiffy. And maybe it's a little bit open on the side, but I don't think anyone's going to truly notice. I could probably put another piece up on top to kind of seal it. So let's see what we can do with that. That ought to give the guy in the driver plenty of headroom to work with. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this in here. We're going to slide this in and make sure it hits up against the back here. Ow, got my finger. I had a nickel for every time I burnt my finger. There we go. Now that looks nice. Now, go ahead and paint this up. And let's see how that... Let's make sure our turret still works. As we're putting equipment onto this thing and see how many minutes I've got left in the video. We got 4 minutes left. Alright. Still got a little bit of a drag right there, but that's not a big deal. Still turns. So now our profile looks something like that. So now we know from the basic design of this thing is that there's a gunner down in here, commander here, probably a loader over here, mechanic over here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 men, and the driver up here in the front, who's probably got the world's most awkward seat. Or at least he's having to kind of squinch himself in. He's probably a little fella. So, that's kind of cool. Now, let's go ahead, and I've got these split pieces, and we're going to make use of these. With these little pieces where you cut them and the popsicle sticks split, we're going to use that. I'll show you how. I'm going to grab another one of these thin sticks. We'll probably leave this one natural wood color for a reason, and I'll show you in a minute. Because I need to put some, maybe put some equipment on this thing. So what we're going to do is we'll cut down about 3 of these. Now let's see how many deep this thing can go. Okay. I have to cut this down a little bit more. So I've got it a little bit uneven. There we go. Now I need one more. We'll see how this is coming along. Okay. Cut one more down. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to push the tank to one side, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Each one of these, we're going to glue. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but we're going to glue these pieces together, and it'll make sense here in a second. Go ahead and cut this piece off, because I want these boards have to be even. So, go ahead and grab this one. Glue it right here. Flip this and cut it. Come on, cut it. There we go. Now, trying to get them squared up as much as possible if you're doing this. Alright, we need to cut quite a bit off that one. There we go. Now, if it splits a little, that's all for the good. It's not going to hurt a thing. Now, what you have here will make itself readily apparent momentarily. I'm going to cut these down just a little bit. And this is the little pieces that split off. So we're going to snip that down and see if that looks right. And it does. So what we're going to do is we'll come up here, and these are fiddly bits, so be very careful with this hot glue. Drop that into place. I need one more just like it. And then another one like on the other side. I need to snip this down a little bit more. And let's go ahead and glue now. Come up here and just kind of, there we go. Now you can already see what that's going to become. So that's going to be a like an ammunition crate, and you could probably get away, popsicle sticks as cheap as they are, you could probably get away making these things by the dozen. Just have them for scenery or whatever you want to do. These will be very useful. My goal is to make a model tank that will have about everything that I need for it. Here, let me get it.